So you've balanced the ratios. You've kept it moist. You've turned it every week. You've done everything the composting experts told you to do. But your pile is still a disaster. It stinks. It's ugly to look at. And the rats, well, they've moved in like they own the place. So maybe you give up and think it's all too hard. But here's the thing. The problem isn't that you're bad at composting. It's just that most home compost bins need constant babysitting. And most of us just don't have the time to do that. So, in this video, I'm going to show you a completely different system. You just fill this bin once and then walk away from it. You don't have to keep turning it. It doesn't stink and you won't get any rats. You'll just get quality compost. And there are 3 things that make this system completely different. Firstly, you only deal with compost once a year and not every weekend. This method automatically keeps the pile aerobic, so you never need to turn it. And lastly, we add a secret ingredient that supercharges the compost you get at the end. And if you stick around, I'll even show you how we use an ancient technique that makes this timber compost bin last for decades. And I'll also show you a design mistake I made that almost destroyed it. You know, I remember my very first compost bin. I made it from old timber pellets. Yeah, it technically worked, but gee, that thing was ugly. It stunk, and it was really hard to use. And the other thing is that it rotted out only after a few years. And we had a massive problem with rats. Look, some of the compost we got out of it ended up okay, but a lot of it wasn't. Then I built this chicken coop. I hope using a deep litter system would replace needing another compost bin, but that wasn't going to work. We still needed somewhere for all of that stuff to actually compost. So instead of building another normal compost bin, I wanted something different. Something I just have to fill once and not have to fuss about every weekend. So the design I came up with was actually inspired by the Johnson-Su bioreactor. I just adapted it for our backyard. The original Johnson-Su bioreactor is a tall, round cylinder made from that concrete wire mesh, and it is usually filled with leaves. It has these vertical air channels that keep it aerobic. It's a classic fill it once and leave it system. So here's the thing. It works because if you give the compost enough air, the microbes do all the turning for you, and that means you won't have to. My design uses the same principle. It also has vertical air channels, but I'm using a timber frame instead. And the reason is because I want front access. Adding in these front side panels will make it a lot easier to fill without needing a ladder. It also makes it easier to empty because you just pull out the front panels as that you need to. And I reckon it's a lot better looking in our backyard. So inside the bin, I'm placing these vertical PVC pipes. These will form the air columns through the pile. Air can then move up and laterally through the material. The walls and floor will be lined with bird wire mesh and weed matting, and this will let more air in through the sides and the floor. Actually, research by Johnson-Su actually showed that air can move through compost. So with this layout, air can reach the whole pile. And this is the point. I won't ever have to remember to turn the pile to get air into it. It'll do it automatically. And like I promised at the start, here's how I'm going to make this standard pine frame last for decades. Instead of painting it, I burnt it. This ancient technique is called Shou Sugi Ban or yakisugi. When you char the surface of wood, it actually creates a carbon layer. This actually resists moisture, insects and decay. Modern tests have actually shown that this increases its durability compared with unburnt timber. So to do this, I used a propane blowtorch to char each section as I built it. It's the same technique I used on a recent raised garden bed, as well as the steps the chicken use to get up to their hen house. I actually don't mind doing this because it's a much safer option compared to using just treated pine. On top of that, I reckon it just looks good. It turns what would be a mundane basic timber frame into something that actually adds a bit of character to our yard. I remember my old pallet bin that started rotting after a few years. This one, the plan is for it to last decades. Building the frame for this bin was quite straightforward. Using the SketchUp plan, I created a cut list. Then with the miter saw setup, it was just a matter of measure, cut and repeat. Then we ended up with a pile of pieces. So we started with the base. Since I had some treated pine lying around, I used that at the very bottom. It won't contact with the compost, so that would work well there. Then the walls were joined, and finally the smaller removable front panels. Yeah, I did add some fancy cross bracing, but in the end it looked not bad. So once all of the frames were built, I burnt all of the exposed softwood with the Shou Sugi Ban method you saw earlier, except that treated pine timber at the base. So with the timber charred, I stapled bird wire over the walls, the front panels and across the base. That not only ties all the framing in square, more importantly, it stops those rats from digging their way into the bin. On the inside, other than the roof, I added weed matting over the wire on every surface that will touch compost. This still lets air come in, but it stops any of the compost from getting out. The roof itself is just a lightweight corrugated sheet screwed to a simple frame. It keeps most of the rain off while still allowing airflow around the top of the bin. Finally, the whole bin sits on 5 Bessa bricks set into the ground. There's no soil packed in between them, and because the bricks are hollow, there's full air circulation underneath, and so that also helps with draining excess water. In our setup, like I mentioned before, we just wanted to fill it up once and then forget about it. And to do this, we used our chicken coop. We basically collect all of our compost material for 12 months before our bin ever gets filled. First was the chicken run. This is where we put all our kitchen scraps, lawn clippings and all of the garden trimmings. The chickens eat what they want, and then they dig and scratch everything up and mix in their manure. Over time, it all dries out. It breaks down a bit, and we end up with a rough, mixed compost base. Over a year, that builds up to a surprising amount in their run. Second was the hen house, where they roost at night. We use hemp bedding in here because it virtually stops their poo smell, and we only need to clean it out like once a year. Hemp it's very high in carbon, while the chicken manure is very nitrogen rich. So over time they gradually balance each other out, and it's actually ideal to add into our compost. But like I said, in the spirit of low maintenance, I let both the run and the hen house build up over the year. Then when everything is full, well used and starting to break down on its own, I do one big clean out, and that's what goes into our compost bin. So what this means is, instead of thinking about compost every week, I do one big, messy clean out once a year. And that's my entire compost workload. This is that once a year fill, like I mentioned at the start. One big load instead of babysitting a pile every weekend. Like I just said, filling the bin was a messy job, But it was also satisfying to finally start filling it for the first time. I worked through each of the buckets one at a time so the bin filled as evenly as possible from front to back. Look, it was a bit awkward filling in around those PVC pipes. I actually had to keep checking they stay straight so the air channels end up roughly where they're meant to be. I didn't want them drifting off on weird angles and ruining the entire airflow pattern. And moisture was the other big piece of the puzzle here. The material coming out of the coop is pretty dry, so I add a layer, hose it down, and then give it a quick mix as I go. Then it didn't take me long to see the way I was doing it wasn't going to work. That water wasn't soaking in. The top layer looked wet, but underneath it was still dry as a bone. I was basically creating a soggy crust on top while the real bulk of the pile stayed dry. So I had to change it up a bit. Instead of trying to soak it in place, I started pre-wetting each batch in the wheelbarrow. Then I shoveled that into the bin once it was properly soaked through. It ended up being wetter than I had originally planned, but at least there were no hidden dry pockets. This bin has good drainage, so really that wasn't going to be a problem. From there I just kept loading and adding the front panels until it was full. For maintenance, the plan was simple. I'll give it a quick spray with the hose about once a week or more often when, if it's hot weather. So the idea is not to keep soaking it, but it just needs to stay evenly moist. And so with the air channels in this moisture routine, the biology going on with the microbes will do all the rest. And here's that secret ingredient I mentioned earlier. This is the one that almost nobody is adding to their compost piles. It's biochar. To be more precise, what I'm adding here is crushed charcoal. The difference is that biochar is what they call charcoal that's already been charged, or in other words, charcoal that's been pre-soaked with nutrients and microbes before it goes into the soil. But here's the thing, you don't need to buy fancy biochar for your compost bin. They can get very expensive. If you crush up plain barbecue charcoal and add it to compost like this, the pile will charge it for you. I just layer it through the load as I fill the bin. I add some of the composting material, then a layer of crushed charcoal, and then more material and so on. Then as the compost matures, the charcoal soaks up the nutrients, microbes, and other organic goodies. Research on biochar shows it can actually improve nutrient retention, water holding capacity, and even support more microbial activity. And the best part is that it can stay stable and benefit your soil for decades or even longer. It's almost like adding a long-lasting upgrade to that compost you're making. Once the initial heat of the compost dropped after about a couple of weeks, I started adding worms from the garden into the bin. Because this bin is up on bricks and not directly in contact with the soil, worms can't find their way in naturally. Luckily, my raised beds are teeming with worms, so by relocating a bunch, they can work through all of the compost, reproduce, and help turn this into some amazing compost. When I was building this bin and putting it together, I thought I was actually going all right. But when I started filling it, well, that was a different story. You see, I made a mistake when I designed this, and it almost destroyed the entire thing. It was only when I finally filled the bin that I realised once all that wet material was in, those sidewalls started to bow out under the weight. That's when I realised I actually hadn't planned for anything to tie the left and right sides together to stop the whole thing from opening up. Look, although it won't win any prizes, I had to use a ratchet strap to drag the walls back into square. Look, it's not perfect, but it actually did stop the walls opening any further. If I were building this again, I'd probably add a fixed brace across the front corners at the top. So look, if you're planning to build your own version, that might be something for you to keep in mind when you build your own. So overall, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. This bin is really about doing less and letting time do more. I do one big, messy job once every year, and then let time, microbes, worms, and a bit of design do the rest. Then every 12 months, I get about a cubic metre of slow-made compost. I can then spread across the whole garden just before spring. And this all works because of those three things we talked about earlier. I load it once a year in bulk. I keep it breathing so it never needs turning. And I layer in that biochar so the compost you end up with is richer and longer lasting in the soil. Everything else, the charred timber frame, the bracing fixes, it's just there to make the system easier to live with over the long run. If you've got chicken, deep litter bedding, or even if you've just got a way to collect bulk organic material, building a bin like this can turn all of that into a single reliable annual compost harvest without having to babysit a pile every weekend.